Well, hello and another very warm welcome back to Classic Dirt Bike TV, and in this next featured video we're going to take a look at a few racing highlights from the 2010 Blencarn Classic Scramble that was held at Lownthwaite Farm in Penrith in that year. Now, as you can see, the weather on the day was a bit overcast, but quite cold and damp for Sunday the 13th of June, but nevertheless still quite good conditions for racing. So we're going to kick off with the pre-1965 class, basically the vintage class of this event, as the riders all get lined up and ready to go for race one. Now, it's been quite some time since I've taken a look at this footage once again, so I'll try and pick out as many of the riders as we can as the riders make their way around the racetrack. So we're just about ready to get underway with this first race of the day. Riders got their heads down, and as they leave the line, it's quite a good start there by Steve Gagg going down the inside, number 466. It looks like we have a BSA Victor rider in first position as they come round to take the first few turns. Steve Gagg certainly in second position there on the outside. And number 192 is Chris Collins going through on what I think is a BSA machine. I see Graham Bell just making his way through. Looks like there's been a coming together with a couple of riders at the corner there, but as it stands, it's Steve Gagg who is your race leader. Now, normally I do have a list of riders and numbers to hand when I make these videos, but unfortunately I don't have any information on many of the riders here, so I'll just try and pick out the ones that I know are correct. But it's Steve Gagg, number 466, is your race leader as they come round to complete lap 1. Second position looks like it's Chris Collins, number 192. It looks like Steve Gagg is riding an old Tribsa machine, the BSA frame with the Triumph engine. As we look at our second place man, number 192, Chris Collins, riding very well on that BSA as they come round to cross the line to complete lap 1. Number 43 there, that's Andy Cam, just making his way through. Some quick riders here in this first race of the day. Steve Dent, number 585, just making the turn there. But as you can see, the racing conditions here at Lownthwaite Farm are a bit overcast and damp for a June summer's day, but nevertheless the conditions for racing are almost perfect here at Penrith. As we take a look at our first and second place riders, it's Steve Gagg who still leads this race, number 466. Chris Collins is very close behind. It looks like Chris is going to be making a challenge on Steve Gagg for that pole position just shortly as they exit another turn, but it looks like Chris Collins is going to try and go down the outside, but unfortunately went a bit wide. But it's still Steve Gagg, your race leader, from number 192 Chris Collins. But it looks like Chris Collins has got a good drive out of the corner there, so this could be his opportunity to take the lead of this first race as he passes Steve Gagg for that pole position. So your new race leader is number 192 Chris Collins. Second is number 466, that's Steve Gagg. I'm just looking at some of the other riders coming up the hill. That's 43, that's Andy Cam on his BSA machine. Number 585 again just going through in the green jersey, that's Steve Dent. And Mike Bell just going through there, number 89. One of the Bell family racers, the father races and the two Bell brothers, of course. Also just going through there was Graham Bell, unrelated to the other Bells, of course, but nevertheless a good rider. But we're looking at our first position placed rider, number 192, Chris Collins, on that what looks like a B44 BSA machine. And Chris is already looking like he's opening up a slight gap on this man here, number 466, Steve Gagg, on what looks like a Tribsa machine, but another very quick classic rider, Steve. I've seen this man many times racing at the Nostalgia Scramble, and a very quick rider indeed. There is your third place man just going through. I'm sorry if I'm unable to name that particular rider, but nevertheless he's doing quite well there in third position. So we're back looking at our race leader once again, number 192, Chris Collins, as he circumnavigates this Lownthwaite Farm racetrack. This event here at the Blencarn Scramble is held in June each year at this event, and this is always one of the races that I look forward to attending over the course of a year. So as Chris Collins comes round to begin his last and final lap, he's looking good for his first win of the day. Steve Gagg is still there in second position, number 466. So it's been quite a good start to this first race here at the 2010 Blencarn Scramble, with Chris Collins, number 192, your race leader, as he makes his way towards the checkered flag, and looks like Chris is going to win this first pre-1965 class race of the day. Number 733 there is not, of course, in second position. It just looks like Chris Collins is starting to pass the slower riders on the racetrack. So it's a win for this man here, number 192, Chris Collins, and second is still going to be Steve Gagg. Okay, next up we're going to move on to the pre-1968 class. Now there's some very quick riders in this particular class. Look out for the likes of Liston Bell, and we have Tim Dalloway as well, number 164, another very quick rider. And also taking part in this race is the racing legend Vic Allen. So look out for Vic Allen in number 4. I think Vic is riding an old Rickman BSA Gold Star in this race, so look out for Vic Allen at number 4. So we're just waiting on our race starter, the legendary John Bethel, just waiting to let the riders loose on to the racetrack. Looks like we're just about good to go, and as they leave the line, it's a fantastic start from number 164, Tim Dalloway there in the pink crash helmet, as the rest of the chasing pack make their way through. Richard Bird just going through there, number 17, as they all head round to start at lap 1. But it's number 164 here, Tim Dalloway, with the matching helmet and pink gloves. Quite a strange combination, but nevertheless a very quick rider, this young lad, young Tim Dalloway. I think that could be a Rickman Triumph that Tim is riding, but please don't quote me on that particular fact. Now second place could be number 216, I think that's David Bell. Number 163 just making his way through was Ricky Pedder. Number 98 is Liston Bell, but it looks like we've got a rider down on the corner, number 117. Looks like he's dropped his old Rickman bike, but looks like he's got it fired up and on his way once again, and thankfully no injuries to report. So as we look to the far side of the racetrack, it's still number 164, Tim Dalloway, who leads number 216. I think that's David Bell. David also a very quick rider. I think David's riding an old BSA machine, but as you can see, very quick on that old vintage race bike. Third place is still number 163, Ricky Pedder. he should just be coming through in the green there, just coming into shot, and there is Vic Allen, and in fact it's not at number 4 as I previously suggested, it's number 2 for Vic Allen. So Vic Allen doing very well there in 4th position. But it's great to see these old vintage race bikes racing on this kind of racetrack, which is the old school type vintage racing. No big massive jumps or berms, but just nice natural terrain for these old classic race bikes and the riders. So there's your race leader, Tim Dalloway, number 164. Looks like Tim's got quite a comfortable lead over second place man, which was David Bell, number 216. But Tim also rides a twin shock machine at this event, so we may see him in action later in the race programme. There's your second place man, David Bell, just going through. There is Vic Allen, and Vic of course is just one of the 3 famous racing brothers. We have Vic here, and Robbie, and of course Jimmy Allen, who sadly are no longer with us, but Vic still comes out and takes part in these big vintage race events. So we're just looking at a few of the other riders in this particular class. Number 98 there in the blue, that's Liston Bell from Scotland. Another very talented young rider who absolutely love riding these old British-made race bikes. As we take a look at our second place rider, number 216, that's David Bell. Third place should still be Ricky Pedder, number 163. As Ricky just makes the turn there, we are now back looking at number 2, Vic Allen once again. Vic of course was a former 250 and 500 British motocross champion, so certainly a very talented rider, and of course a Scottish and British motocross racing legend. And it's great that some of these older motocross stars from the past still come out and race these old bikes at these classic events and just give the spectators a view into what it would have been like racing these old bikes back in the day. But here's your race leader, it's still Tim Dalloway on that what I think is an old Triumph machine, but I may be misquoting that particular fact, but Tim just passing number 17 there, that's Richard Bird. So Tim is well on his way to possibly his first win of the day. Tim of course always recognisable by his pink crash hat, which is a bit of a trademark really for Tim when he's riding these bikes, but I'm not really sure what the pink gloves are all about, but each to their own. But here he is, Tim Dalloway, heading towards the checkered flag for his first win of the day. So as he just concludes the last 2 or 3 turns, it's a win for number 164, Tim Dalloway. Okay, next up we're moving on to the pre-1975 up to 350cc class. Once again, another bunch of quite talented riders. We have some nice Honda Elsinores in there and a few old Bultacos, but should see some nice racing from these guys in this particular class. So we're just waiting on a race starter, John Bethel, letting them loose from the start line. Looks like one of the Honda Elsinores has made a fantastic start into turn 1. Looks like most of the riders have safely negotiated turn 1 and are on their way to begin this first racing lap. But it looks like a battle of the Elsinores at the front there. I think that could be Chris Story at number 238 at the front. on that lovely 1974 Honda 250 Elsinore. Chris again, a very talented young rider on these little two-stroke Honda machines. I'm not entirely sure who the second placed rider is, who's also riding a Honda Elsinore, but it looks like Tim Dalloway is back out once again in this race, and he is moving up into second place by the looks of it, as we just take a look at some of the other riders making their way through. Steve Dent once again, number 385 in the green jersey, just going through there. I do apologise for not being able to name many of the other riders. As I said previously, I don't have any information with regards the runners and riders, but it looks like Tim Dalloway is now taking the lead from Chris Story here in second position. So it's Chris Story in second with Tim Dalloway on the BSA in first place. You'd think that these little two-stroke Hondas would be ideally suited to this type of racetrack, but it looks like Tim Dalloway has certainly got his old BSA hooked up and is on his way to his possibly second win of the day. Number 18 going through there, I think that was Aaron Dent going through. Number 129 is Derek McCauley. Number 11 there is Keith Mason. But there's still some very quick riders in this class. So once again we're back with our race leader, Tim Dalloway on the BSA. Second is still Chris Story. We're looking at number 18, I think that's Aaron Dent once again. Looks like Aaron's also riding one of those Elsinore. Number 233 is Andrew King. Number 129 is Derek McCauley. Keith Mason again going through there, number 11. But the racing conditions here at Lownthwaite Farm are just almost perfect for this kind of classic racing. Now, of course, sadly, there's been no racing at this Lownthwaite venue for the last couple of years due to the dreaded COVID, but who knows, we're hoping and keeping our fingers crossed that possibly maybe 2022 will be able to re-attend this fantastic weekend here at Penrith. So we're looking at number 164, Tim Dalloway, your race leader. He's certainly opening up a gap to second place man Chris Story, but a very talented young rider, this Tim Dalloway. So Tim is coming round to complete another racing lap on his BSA machine, as the last lap flag goes out. So that's one more lap for Tim to complete. As we just take a look at a few of the other riders just making their way through to begin their last and final lap. Steve Dent once again, number 385. Derek McCauley there, number 129 on the Bultaco. Keith Mason as well, riding a 250 Bultaco Persang. But this has been a fantastic ride once again for the talented youngster Tim Dalloway, as he makes his way through the pack to come towards the checkered flag for his second win of the day. So as he comes up the hill to take the last turn, it's a win for number 164, Tim Dalloway, and it looks like Chris Story is going to cross the line in second position. Okay, next up we're going to take a look at a few highlights from the combined pre-1975 over 250s and the pre-77 class. As you can see, quite a good lineup of riders for this combined class. Once again, some very quick riders in this class. So it looks like we're just about good to go. And as the riders leave the line, I think that's number 359 in front. I think that's Carl Pope riding that BSA machine in second position there. Also in this race I can see number 42 Gary Parker seems to be taking part in this race. Normally a twin shock rider, Gary, but he's out there on what looks like an old 1977 Michael machine. So as the riders negotiate the first 2 or 3 turns, and they begin a lap 1, it looks like it's still Carol Pope, I think, in number 359 on the BSA, your race leader. And I think moving up into second position, I think that's number 307 Scott Hayworth, who's now moved up into that second place position. But here's your race leader as they come round to complete lap 1. I'm almost sure that this is Carol Pope on the BSA, but please feel free to correct me on that particular point. There he is, number 307. That's Scott Hayworth in second position, also riding a very quick BSA machine as they come round to complete lap 1. And that looks like Chris Chell in third position. So we'll just try and pick up a few of the riders as they make their way across the line. Number 42 is Gary Parker, and we will see Gary Parker out in the twin shock class later in this video. Number 59 there, that's Lewis Bell. Looks like Lewis has had a very bad start in this race, but sure it won't be long before he's making his way through the pack. But we have a new leader now. It's number 307 Scott Hayworth on the BSA. Looks like Carol Pope is in second position now, but a very good battle developing between these two very talented riders. Now, of course, this is part 1 of 2 videos we'll be showing you here from the 2010 Blencarn Scramble, so make sure you subscribe to my channel in order that you don't miss out on the remaining races from this fantastic event. So here's your race leader, number 307 Scott Hayworth, as he comes round to complete lap 2. Carol Pope there, number 359 in second. Chris Chell, number 264 in third position. And once again, I do apologise for not being able to name many of the riders in these races, as I don't have a list of riders and their numbers for this event. Although I'm sure it's more important that we see these old bikes racing on the track than actually picking out individual riders. Number 24 going through there, that's John Mitchell from Stranraer in Scotland on the old Michael. But it's still Scott Hayworth, your race leader. 359 Carol Pope is in second position. Carol, of course, has also been known to take his twin shock Honda out for a race in the twin shock class, so he's certainly multi-talented in that respect. Number 264 Chris Chell just going through. Number 148 is in fourth position. Number 302 is in fifth on the twin shock CZ machine. But here's the battle for your first place rider. It's still Scott Hayworth in first position, riding that very quick BSA bike. It looks like Scott's got quite a decent lead on second place man, Carol Pope, as he comes round to start his last and final lap of this race. So Scott is looking good for his first win of the day if he can keep Carol Pope at arm's length. So as he comes round to cross the line to begin his last and final lap, it's Scott Hayworth, your race leader. Carol Pope there just going through, just lapping a few of the slower riders on the track. So as he comes round to take his first win of the day, it looks like it's going to be a surefire win for number 307 Scott Hayworth on the BSA. This has been a very good ride by Scott on this old vintage race bike. So as he comes up the hill for the last time to take the checkered flag, it's his first win of the day for number 307, Scott Hayworth. We're just waiting on Carol Pope crossing the line there in second position. Okay, just to finish off this part 1 video from the Blencarn Scramble 2010, we're going to take a look at the Twin Shock Bandits class. These are the really fast riders in this class, so look out for the likes of Richard Charlton in this race and the Watson brothers as they wait for the gate to drop, as they leave the line. Richard Charlton there, number 5 in the black and white, has made a stonking start on that big 500 CCM bike. So as they come towards us, it's number 5 Richard Charlton on the CCM, who is your race leader. Second, it looks like it's Russell Watson there, number 8. Walter Bickmore is in third position. It looks like Nigel Sowerby is in fourth, with Scotland's Paul Chiappa in 5th position. So as we look to the far side of the racetrack on lap 1, it's still Richard Charlton on the CCM, your race leader. Second is Russell Watson, number 8. Third is Nigel Sowerby there, number 93 on the Michael. Fourth is Walter Bickmore, number 3. And just behind Walter is number 37, I think that is Paul Chiappa. So we're looking at the battle for 4th and 5th position here between the two Scottish riders of number 3 Walter Bickmore and number 37 Paul Chiappa. But number 93 Nigel Sowerby is keeping that Maiko there in 3rd position. So as it stands after lap 1, it's Richard Charlton, your race leader, from Russell Watson in 2nd position. Paul Chiappa has now moved up into 3rd position. Nigel Sowerby is in 4th. Walter Bickmore is in 5th, with Gary Parker coming up in 6th position. But you can already see, even after lap 1, how much of a lead Richard Charlton has on the rest of the chasing pack on this big Alan Clues 500 CCM bike. Very quick machines these, and ideally suited to these tight and twisty racetracks. So in 2nd place it's still Russell Watson just going through. Paul Chiappa is in 3rd. Gary Parker has now moved up into 4th position on the HPF Honda. Nigel Sowerby there, number 93, is being challenged by number 3 Walter Bickmore. So quite a good battle developing between these two riders. But it's Richard Charlton as he comes round to complete another racing lap. Remember, these CCM bikes with only 3-speed gearboxes there. There's Russell Watson on the 480 Honda. Gary Parker now looking to challenge Paul Chiappa for that track position. So it's the big 490 Michael versus the 500 HPF Honda machine. But it certainly looks like Gary Parker is now moved up into 3rd position and now challenging 2nd place man Russell Watson for that track position. So Gary Parker's dived down the inside and he's on his way to try and catch Richard Charlton on the CCM. So as it stands, it's Richard Charlton, your race leader. 2nd Gary Parker. 3rd is Russell Watson, and in 4th place we're looking at number 73 there, Paul Chiappa. But here's your race leader. It's Richard Charlton on the CCM, and Richard looking very comfortable on that big single cylinder 4-stroke machine as he comes round to complete another lap. Gary Parker in 2nd position on the big 500 HPF Honda. Russell Watson number 8. Number 73 is Paul Chiappa. In 5th position is Nigel Sowerby just going through there, and number 3 is Walter Bickmore. Now, of course, these twin shock races are slightly longer than the old vintage race bikes. I think these are about 8 laps for the twin shock race bikes. Naturally, we won't be able to show you every single lap, but we hope you get the gist of the race from these highlights. So we're looking at Russell Watson, number 8 there, and Paul Chiappa racing for that track position. But here's your race leader. It doesn't look like anybody's going to get onto terms with Richard Charlton on this very quick Alan Clues CCM bike. Great bikes to ride, these machines. You just select your gear and just open and close the throttle whenever you need to speed up or slow down. No brakes required, as some riders tell me. So we're going to stick with this race between Russell Watson, number 8, and Paul Chiappa, number 73. This is the battle for the 3rd and 4th place positions. Looks like Russell Watson is doing very well on that 480 Honda machine. So it's Russell Watson in 3rd with Paul Chiappa here in 4th place. But here's your race leader as he comes round to start his last and final lap of this twin shock race. It's Richard Charlton, number 5, on the Alan Clues CCM bike. It just gives you an indication just how quick these big BSA derived 4-stroke machines are. Gary Parker there, number 12, on the HPF 500 Honda in 2nd position. At number 8 here is Russell Watson in 3rd on the 480 Honda, with Paul Chiappa there, number 73, in 4th spot. But I do hope you've enjoyed this part 1 video of the racing highlights from Blencarn 2010, and please of course subscribe to my channel in order that you don't miss out on more of the racing from this event in part 2. So it's still Russell Watson there in 3rd position, with Paul Chiappa challenging for that track position. Good battle between these two, but it looks like Paul's went a bit wide and got hung up on the track posts, but nevertheless he's still going. But here's your race leader as he comes round to take the checkered flag. It's Richard Charlton, number 5, on the 500 CCM. Gary Parker's going to cross the line in 2nd position on the HPF Honda, and it looks like Russell Watson is going to secure that 3rd place finish, with Scotland's Paul Chiappa coming across the line in 4th.